And I love that you brought up Cooper. I think that was one of my favorite things to watch.
Yep.
Cooper Lutkenhaus got it done. Man, listen, at 17 years old, he ran 144.24 to win his first world title. The last time we saw Cooper with USA across his chest, you know, he failed to advance, and that was at World Outdoors. And then we spoke to him earlier this year, and he said, listen, I don't like to lose. It was very unfamiliar territory. And he clearly, like you said, carries himself with the poise as a very seasoned competitor.
You look at his record from this season, this man went undefeated.
Crazy.
In his rookie year.
he can't even vote yet. Like, it's crazy.
His indoor pro debut, undefeated.
Yeah, look, I said this a couple times on the show. Like Cooper Lutkenhaus, he has that benefit of one being a generational talent, but also having come from another world championship just less than a year ago, less than a calendar year ago. What I was so impressed by with that race was there were 3 different points in time where he was like, I'm going to be here where I need to belong. I think it was the first or second lap. He's like, I'm going to sit on your shoulder. And then it was like I might be mixing the laps up, but then it was a subsequent lap where he took the lead. And then going on to the final lap, he was like, it was one point in time, I think it was Crestdown was trying to pass him. Yeah. He was like, nah, you're going to stay there.
Right.
And he came home with it. He runs with the poise. He carries himself with the poise of a grown man, a seasoned athlete with 10 years more experience than he has, but then also ran that race like a grown, may I say it, like a grown-ass man.
Hell yeah.
Like, it was so entertaining to watch.
You watch him cross the line, it's like he's been out for a jog. Hardly broke a sweat.
And then he was like, okay, yeah. You know, he was more excited it almost seemed like he was more excited to have gotten second at USA's last year than he was to win a world title. And that goes to show that, you know, his pedigree is legit.
And I'd love to add to that too, because I think what we saw last year at Outdoor USA's versus now, you are seeing a night and day. Like, it's still very impressive what he did at that point in time, because we even spoke to him after that, and he was like, I didn't even think I was going to make the final, let alone the team. Yeah. And now it's a very different ballgame. I just don't want to lose, and now he's a world champion. And I think this shows poise, yes, pedigree, yes, but his IQ in the game is so different in less than a year. So it's like a switch. When he decided, okay, I'm going to go pro, I'm in the big boy ranks right now and skipping over NCAA, I got to make sure it's shown that I belong here. Yeah. And it seemed as though his fitness is at a different level, but more than anything up here, very, very different. Even in the way that he runs his race. And to run your race like that, you have to really believe in your abilities and believe in your coaching. Yeah. So I am very, very impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the relationship he has with Coach Capo and in his high school program, like, shines through, and he's still got a great head on his shoulders and a good team around him. I just want to throw a couple things out. He's the youngest world champion in history.
That's crazy.
So at 17 years old, I mean, most people, I mean, could never dream of something at that level. And so to set a mark like that, and then he did this over spring break. He's coming back from spring break. People ask him what he did. I don't know, went and won a world title.
Just win a world championship. You know, I became a world champion. No biggie.
Yeah, no big deal.
Oh, damn, I got algebra.
No, I feel like, I mean, I know you don't do show and tell in high school, but if I was him, I'd be like, I just want to advocate for a little show and tell, because here's what I have to bring. A gold medal for my team.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people can't say that.
No.
Did you guys see I think they mixed up the medal distribution. They gave Cooper's gold to Keeley.
Really?
And Keeley got Cooper's gold, and so they had to, it was a cool little clip out there, but
did not see that.
USATF had to come while Keeley was in the mix zone and present her actual medal, except the one they gave Cooper, but they got it sorted out.
Well, that's still pretty cool. That's actually really cool. If you look
Shout
at
out to Jay Holder. I think he was the one who put it around her neck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my guy for sure. Also, guys, the men's 60, Jordan Anthony. Didn't we expect anything less before I even continue? Did we? Come on.
Did what we said
Come on.
Did what he said we said he'd do.
And I love when he does this. You know, when the mix zone, they were talking about, they were like, what's the celebration about? What is this about? He's like, you know, it's just to tell my haters shut the F up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. He really brings, like, this football swag and mentality to track and field that it needs so much. Because, you know, respectfully, track can be real soft. When it's ready to be, track can be very, 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 very soft. And I think that he's like bringing this confidence to the sport that I think matches the level in which these athletes are competing. So I'm not mad at it. And, you know, he said he's going to silence the haters, and that he did. He won with 6:41, world leading time. And yeah, he said he was silencing the haters.
Now, the world leading time that he broke was set in the semis by our man Trayvon Bromell, which is its own amazing storyline, but had like world leads go down in semifinals by Trayvon, and I'd love to touch on that. Like,
no, for sure. We are. Give me like one quick second, because the silencing the hater parts though. Because so Aaron Brown of Canada, he runs with Star Athletics, and he expressed he doesn't love Jordan Anthony's like demeanor about everything. He doesn't love that, and I think, they went back and forth on Twitter, and I was trying to find the video, but account got suspended and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to know your thoughts on maybe some of the older guys in the crowd or in the sport kind of not loving Jordan Anthony's demeanor that he's bringing into this.
Look, I'm going to speak from my perspective, because I think Aaron Brown and I might be around the same age. And though I'm not competing actively, I think when I was coming up, track and field, well, let me put a little caveat. When I was coming up, the people I was looking up to, the Lee Van Sands and all these people who I looked up to became my competitors. But for a time, I was looking up to them. Lee Van Sands and Eric Wilson and Walter Davis. There are war stories of them being down on the runway, on the triple jump runway, getting at each other. But because it's a field event, it's so insular, you don't see that. They don't get a lot of camera or TV time. But the sprinters, you never really see too much braggadociousness. And I think, honestly, to your point, football, they do it all the time because it's more aggressive in your face. But look, if you're the best at what you did and you won a world championship, celebrate how you want to celebrate. It's kind of like what we talked about a few weeks ago. As long as you're like if you say something or you do something in your celly that might irritate somebody else, you got to deal with the repercussions of that. But guess what? You're still a grown man. You're still a grown woman. Celebrate your win. Why not? I feel like, honestly, if I could go back and do it again, I would have talked way more stuff than I was talking, because at the same time, what I love about track and field is that it's all performance-based. When you're going against the clock, we're going against a tape measure. You got to be locked in to be able to do that. So for me, not talking as much wasn't about other people. It was more about staying locked in and focused. So I really appreciate a guy like Jordan Anthony who can go out into the finals, run 6:41, which is the fastest time of the year, which, by the way, people don't always run the fastest time in the finals. Stay locked in and focused, and then talk his stuff at the end of it. Go ahead and do it. And if you don't appreciate it, if you don't like it, I don't think there's anything wrong with not liking it, but I think at the same time, you can't really hate on somebody for doing what's natural to them.
Yeah, I don't think I couldn't agree more. I don't know if I loved Aaron's comments regarding that, because I was like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
What's wrong? He's fast. The kid is talented, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, you always have to back it up. The only thing that actually matters is the result. And so I think it's all the more impressive if an athlete has the confidence to both put the performance up and then go above and beyond, if you want to put it in that way. Like, that takes a lot of confidence, and you got to also back that up.
Yeah, if you can back up the talk, then if you can walk the talk, then walk it and talk it.
Hell yeah. Who came second was Kishane Thompson.
Yeah.
He ran a personal best, actually, of 6:45. Yeah. Some people were calling him a little bit of a silver merchant, but my one pushback on that is he was never the favorite. I'm being so real with you. He was never the favorite. So I don't know if we can say it in that end, and obviously I have a little bit of bias attached to it, but I'm like, not too much on Kishane. Not too much on him. But yeah, Johnny, back to your other point. So yes, Trayvon Bromell, he came third, also ran 6:45. It was kind of a photo finish between him and Kishane. And he is kind of beating Father Time's ass right now.
Yeah.
At age 30, he is running faster than he did at age 20. And I think he is getting better with age, because with age comes experience, with age comes wisdom. And now he knows how to care for his body, how to make sure that Trayvon is good, and how to make sure in competition Trayvon's being the best version of Trayvon he can be, which is why he's probably running some of the best times he has ran, especially also going back to his coach at Baylor.
You mentioned that he's running faster than he did at 20. Well, at 20, he became a world champion in this very event.
Which is crazy.
So back in 2016 at Portland Indoor Worlds, that's when he got his gold, and we're talking a full 10 years later. He was fully in contention for another gold, and I think the fact that he runs that world-leading time in semifinals and then gets a bronze, I mean, that's inspiring. I'm really
super inspiring. I was at that World Championship, and the dynamic and the landscape of track and field is so vastly different now than it was 10 years ago. It's almost like we're in a different era altogether, because we are. So to see somebody, compete, winning that world title back then, but also running faster now, say it all the time, stop calling 30 old. Let's stop playing like it's old. When you're 30 and you take care of your body and you invest in your body like Trayvon's been doing, and it shows that, taking time to put the energy and the money in the places that it matters, plus having the energy of your 20s in your 30s, it's a game changer. So Stop looking at 30 like it's old, people.
His longevity is something that I'm going to be very interested in seeing because I can forecast that.
Yeah.
And mainly because of the wisdom that's come from what he's learned in the game and the level in which he's running.
And also the depths that he fell to. He's had many years of pretty severe injuries that he had to push through and keep his eye on his own self-belief that he could get back and be better than before. Injury can really mess with you.
Yeah,
and especially when it's years on end and you're trying to fight back and fight in time. Like it's just a really great story for him.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'd argue that it was a blessing in disguise because I think what comes with experiencing those injuries, okay, how do I take care of my bodies and what preventative measures do I need to take to make sure certain things don't happen, especially if I'm going to be vulnerable to certain things with age. And also like the volume of sprinting that he does. I think people look at track and field when it's like below a certain amount of meters and they're like, it's not that much, but sprinting is a lot on your body. It's very, very hard on your body.
If I can give you a quick anecdote, I rarely sprint, but I sprinted one time a couple months ago and didn't warm up it the right way. I'm still feeling the repercussions of that. All it took was one rep, and the ripple effect is lasting with me for months. So there's me, and then there's somebody who's actually a real sprinter, sprinting daily, multiple times a week. All it takes is one bad, poorly executed, not warm sprint, and you could be down for months and set back your whole season. And so thinking in that context, if you have to make sure that you are on your top every time you are doing anything, I think that is all the more impressive. And I remember in his mix zone interview just talking about in his 20s, he didn't think about that stuff. He was just like, I'm untouchable. And he's invested in a full-time physio that every day he has somebody getting him in the perfect position. And I think that's not the most convenient, that's not the most cheap, but clearly the investment pays off.
I hope the kids are taking notes.
Yeah, listen, LeBron, he invests like well over $1 million per year, like just on his body. Because at a certain age, if you want to still play at a certain level, you got to invest because that stuff is important. The priorities of it goes up. Sometimes even more important than some practice sessions. So, yeah, you got to. Preservation is a lot. So let's stay on the 60, but go to the women's side. Zeynep Dasso of Italy, she got it done, 7 flat for gold. And let's just bring up this graphic real quickly. First of all, she looks gorgeous. Second of all, a lot of people were saying, oh, I don't know, she's been running well all season, but they just like, oh, will she finish it? Will she do it in World Indoors? And did. And then she did it with such poise. Second place was Jacia Sears. Third place was Julian Alfred, 7:03. Let me ask you guys something. With Dasso coming first in 7 flat, two-parters. Is this a changing of the guard? And also, do you guys think this will translate into the 100 outdoor season?
2 questions, 2 answers. Changing of the guard, no. I think that's a reach. I think Julian Alfred, she had a pretty good, more than decent comeback season last year from injury, but I think she might still need another series of meets to really, feel confident. And when you're in a new season, you've come off with another season of injury, you still got to fine-tune some things and whatnot. But I also remember it was Monaco last year where Julian ran that 100 and she did it in such dominating fashion after losing in Eugene. I was like, no, she's not going anywhere. So I don't think she's going anywhere. Now, as far as Zeynep translating this into the 100, I don't see how she couldn't. I mean, I feel like top-end speed is something, and strength is something that always plays to Julian Alfred's, to her strength and to her race plans. I haven't seen too much of Zeynep's 100-meter races, but I can say, just going off of question 1, I don't think it's going to be a change in the guard, and I don't know if Zeynep's going to be able to just drop 10-7 like a Julian Alfred could, on a random Wednesday. And that's not hate.
You could see it on Julian's face. She was not happy with bronze. I think she's got a fire now.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. Yeah, no, it definitely was reach. I just was trying to get a little conversation started.
No, we stopped that. Put that one away.
I think someone that is going to have a very dominant season, though, is going to be Jacia.
Yeah. Now, she's the one that, now, when we're talking about changing that's a conversation.
That's a conversation.
Because Jacia, she has this hunger, and she's so humble. She's such a sweetheart. She looks so humble. She looks so calm. She looks so but at the same time, I'm going through these interviews on the back end, watching, you could tell that someone underneath her is I'm I'm about to tear these chicks' heads
She's like
off.
silent but deadly.
Yes, she's a
Yeah.
silent assassin, and I
Silent
feel like
killer.
those are the ones you got to watch out for. I think she's now getting this experience where I think what was it, last year was her first year pro, and now and this is her second. Like, she's another one of them ones that I think if we're talking about coming to LA 22, let's not even get too far ahead. Let's look at the rest of this year and even going into 2027.
Yeah.
Jacious is one going to be on my ones to watch constantly, because you can see how every round she's improving. And in one of her interviews, she's like, I've got a lot more confidence in myself. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's ready. She's ready.
You know, Nia, as a sprinter yourself, I'm just kind of curious, overarchingly, talking about the men and the women's 60s. What is the gap? What is the difference between the 60 versus 100, which is obviously what will be contested outdoors and at the Olympics? Can you just like kind of bridge that gap of, you know, what does somebody's 60-meter performance translate to 100? How different? What strengths and weaknesses matter more in the 100?
I think for the 100% your top end speed. So if we like take a Noah Lyles and Christian Coleman, for example. Christian Coleman, he's like the world record holder in the indoor 60 for a very reason. He shoots out like a gun. And at that point, the race is over. Yeah. But he doesn't have Noah's top end speed, which is why I think like sometimes it can't translate into the 100 for him. And not to take anything away from Christian, because he's also a fantastic 100-meter runner, and I think that's a big reason. And because of his start, is a big reason why in 4x1 you want him starting your 4x1.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, you're adding 40 meters to that, and a lot of people, they kind of lose it at the midway mark, and that I think has been like Christian's weakness, but also like because of his start, it translates well to the 60. I remember when English Gardner was on the show, he was like, it's who decelerates the slowest will be the winner of that race. And I think the 100, that's usually the connecting tissue. Right. So it's very hard. You're going to see two different people who's going to excel at the 60 versus who will excel at the 100, because while it's only 40 more meters, it's still 40 more meters.
Almost doubling it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 66% more, right? If we want to do all the math,
So it's two very different races.
Which do you have a preference for as a sprint event?
To watch?
Watch and compete.
I'd say definitely the 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Sounds like there's a bunch of different components to it.
Yeah,
I think for one, too, not to discredit anything with indoor season, but I think when we talk about track and field, I think competing in the elements plays a huge role in certain stuff, in certain performances. You just don't have that indoors, which it doesn't make it softer, but it definitely makes it a tad bit easier. Yeah. And it's a controlled environment, because sometimes there's like races, like I remember last year Diamond League in Poland. And it wasn't like the fastest times in the world, but there is something so dramatic and eerie about them like competing in this sideways rain, low visibility, and still like doing certain things. Like even in the 800, like when Josh Hoey won in like that dramatic fashion, it's just something about that. You're just not going to get that element of it in indoor. So I think automatically, because the 100's an outdoor race, that, and then also, it was in the Olympics too. So Olympic race. But I think like that would probably be the thing. But what I like about the 60 is that it kind of serves as a precursor to what we will see in the 100, and kind of you're like, I wonder what's going to happen here. Like when we talk about Jordan Anthony, will his success translate to the 60? Right. And then what about those runners who don't really do indoor for real, like the Kenny Benards of the world? How are they going to, measure up to the challenge? Are they watching? Are they seeing what's going on? Are they scared? Are they nervous? Are they excited? Yeah. And it's like, can Jordan Anthony match up to that? So it's like a ton of storylines, right? So that's just like my 2 cents about the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. But from the 60, let's go up a few notches. Let's talk about the men's 3,000.
Okay.
I was wrong. Johnny was right. So Josh Kerr did win. He ran 7:35.65 to take the win in season's best fashion.
I was the only one who predicted that.
You were the only one, because he said night. He said night. And you know what? I got beef with this picture, y'all. I got beef because
that looks familiar.
It does look familiar.
Very familiar.
You know, Greg, pull up Cole Hawker's picture, please. This is from Milrose Games when he kind of put everyone to sleep in the 2 mile. You see Josh Kerr in the back. Clearly, Josh remembered that. He said, I bet. Yeah. So he remembered that. But I will say, in the mix zone, Cole was like, I also remember that. Yeah. Outdoor season, y'all just watch. So I'm excited to see that. But guys, tell me, what did you see?
Man, that was, well, I'm gonna let Johnny take this one because that's your boy.
Johnny,
That's your boy.
Johnny,
What do
that's
you
your boy.
think?
You're the only one. You're the only one who chose him.
Cole's great too. Cole's the man. Like I really love this rivalry. These are two really solid guys, but they don't like to lose and they don't take any disrespect. And so this is a fun. It feels like Jakob Josh Part 2, but in a different way. These are just two warriors, and like, you know, the way Josh said it in the mix zone was like, losing at Milrose, like that was a huge motivation for him, and gave full credit to Cole for everything he's accomplished. But like these guys are just elevating each other, and it was neat to see after the incredibly low lows of Tokyo, where Josh obviously came away injured and hit the deck, and that was a pretty tough watch, I think, for a lot of people at home. Just to see this comeback arc over the last 6 months, that, you know, see him back in winning fashion, to see him, I mean, anytime Cole is coming around that last curve, like,
man, everybody
that's a dangerous, that's a dangerous man. So to see him, like, not only take the lead and then hold it off was really impressive, and I just am so excited about where this is going to lead. You know, like Josh said, in the mix zone, like, they're going to hopefully be racing for 3-4 years at least. So it's not the last time they're going to match up, but, you know, it's just cool to see this comeback. And
for sure.
You know, Josh was an indoor champion in Glasgow two seasons ago. So just to see him come back and reclaim that title, it was exciting. In an event, I mean, I always think of Cole and Josh as 1,500 guys. But the 3K, that strength base, like I said last week, like it bodes well because you get the strength of a 3,000, and then you whittle that down and tune that in for the 15. Get your speed up, but it's going to be cool. What else did you take away from it?
Man, so I always have a way of, like, whenever I watch another athlete compete, I'm like, I still have the competitor gene in me that's not going anywhere. So as Josh came across the line, to your point, when I saw Cole coming out, I was like, oh shit,
I got a little nervous.
that's scary. That's always scary. Like, and that
The saxophone's getting louder.
Yeah. All credit to Cole for having such a dangerous kick that really makes people tremble. And to Cole's point, he said, you know, when we're talking about the celly, he said, you know, it's cool. I gotta expect that Josh he would remember the Milrose games thing, but I also wish he would have had his own celebration. And, you know, I thought that was hilarious. I think Josh, you know, when I'm watching it, I was, in my mind, if I was like pretending I was Josh, I would have turned back at Cole and said, no, not this time. That could have been something even better than just copying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it could have been like, nah, because you thought you would come up. No. Maybe that's, I'm giving that one to y'all for free. But I think, like, either way, the fact that we're even talking about how he celebrated and, like, how Jakob caught a random stray in Josh's post-race interview. This is what we need. This goes back to our earlier point. Like, we need some banter in track and field. How can we cross over outside of the lines of the track if we're so afraid of even offending one another?
Yes,
Like,
we need beef.
like,
we need beef,
And
rivalry, storylines. You know what? I'm starting a rumor. Josh and Cole, you guys, I'm starting a rumor. Y'all don't like each other, and it's an official rivalry starting today.
Okay, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I'm starting the rumor.
And you know, the other thing about it is, like, I love how there's a rivalry, but I also love how there's no actual disrespect.
Of course.
It's like, yeah, he deserved that, like, and yeah, I gotta expect it to come back from him. But there's no, like, yo, screw him, I don't like him as a person. It's just on the track. Like, I love that. I love that.
Well, Josh said in the mix, he's like, yeah, I probably should have started getting ready for the next race 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The work begins immediately because there's, you know, there's people waiting.
Yes, take your head off.
I know that's right. Listen, ain't no friends on the line.
No.
I think we saw this morning, we got the breaking news that Josh will be doubling back in London, the home game.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable to watch him in person last year at London. Like, that's a home crowd, the biggest Diamond League. I mean, 80,000 people in this Olympic stadium. That is going to be terribly exciting. But
that's going to be cool. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that. Because London Diamond League is always going to be one of my favorites for sure.